On the day you deliver, you will give birth to a boy.
A boy?
Yes. Listen to me well. On no account should you ever remove this necklace. If you remove it, you will regret ever accepting it.
The evening sun was slow and red as it rested on the roofs of Umoike village. Smoke rose gently from cooking fires. Goats cried. Women called from compound to compound. But inside one mud house at the edge of the village, silence lived there like a visitor who refused to go. Chioma sat on a wooden stool. Her hands were cold. Her eyes were heavy. Chukwudi stood in front of her. His voice was strong and hard.
Chioma, we have stayed in this marriage for 5 years without a baby. Now you say you are pregnant. Listen to me well. I do not want a female. I need someone who will take over my property when I am no more. If it is not a boy, I do not want it.
His words dropped like stones. Chioma's lips trembled. She did not answer. She only nodded slowly, because she knew her husband. When Chukwudi said a thing, he meant it. From the first year of their marriage, he had warned her again and again. I prefer no baby at all than to have a girl. Those words never left her ears. So when her stomach started growing, fear also started growing with it. At night, she could not sleep. In the morning, she could not eat. When women in the compound greeted her happily and said, "Mama to be, well done," she only forced a smile. Inside her heart, fear was dancing. One afternoon, when Chukwudi traveled to the next village for business, Chioma tied her wrapper tightly and left the compound quietly. She walked fast, past the mango tree, past the stream, past the red soil road. She stopped in front of a small hut made of bamboo and palm leaves. That was where the village midwife lived. The old midwife looked at her and nodded slowly, as if she already knew why Chioma came. "Sit down." Chioma sat. The old woman checked her gently. The hut was quiet except for the sound of dry leaves blowing outside. Then the midwife sighed. "My daughter." Chioma's heart began to beat fast. "You are carrying a girl." The world became still. Chioma blinked once, twice. Then her lips opened slowly. "A girl." The midwife nodded. "Yes." That single word broke something inside Chioma. Her eyes filled at once. Her throat tightened. She stood up suddenly, almost knocking the small stool over, and rushed out of the hut before the old woman could speak again. She ran, past the stream, past the mango tree, past the red road. Tears ran down her face like rainwater. "My God, what will I do? What will I do?" She did not even know when she reached the lonely path near the old forest. The wind there was cold. No birds sang there. Even the trees looked like they were watching her. She stopped walking. Her legs became weak. She fell on her knees on the dusty ground. Tears dropped fast. "Gods of our land, please help me. My husband will send me away if I give birth to a girl. Please help me." Her voice echoed softly into the trees. For a moment, nothing happened. The wind blew. Dry leaves rolled. Then, pa! A sound came from behind her. Chioma turned quickly. An old woman was standing there. Chioma did not see her come. The woman was tall and thin. Her hair was white like ash. Around her neck hung a big bead necklace that shone even though the sun was already low. Chioma's breath stopped. The woman spoke slowly.
"Why are you crying, daughter of the soil?"
Her voice was calm but heavy. Chioma crawled closer, shaking. "My husband will throw me out if I give birth to a girl." The old woman watched her quietly. Then she removed the big bead from her neck. The beads made a soft sound as they touched each other. She stretched her hand.
"Wear this."
Chioma hesitated. The air suddenly felt thick. The old woman's eyes did not blink. She continued.
"On the day you deliver, you will give birth to a boy."
Chioma's eyes widened. "A boy?"
"Yes."
Hope rushed into Chioma's chest so fast it almost hurt. She quickly collected the bead with shaking hands. But as she was about to wear it, the old woman's voice became sharp.
"Listen to me well. On no account should you ever remove this necklace. If you remove it, you will regret ever accepting it."
Silence. The wind stopped blowing. Even the trees seemed to lean closer to listen. Chioma swallowed. "I will not remove it," she whispered quickly. The old woman nodded once. Chioma lifted the bead and wore it. Immediately it touched her skin. Her body jerked. A strange cold ran through her spine. Her fingers shook. Her chest rose fast. She gasped. By the time she looked up, the old woman was gone. Gone. No footsteps, no sound, nothing. Only the empty road and the silent trees. Fear mixed with hope inside Chioma. She grabbed the bead tightly and stood up. Then she ran. She ran all the way home. Months passed. Her stomach grew bigger. The bead never left her neck. She bathed with it, she slept with it, she cooked with it. Even when women asked her why she always wore that same bead, she only smiled and said, "It is special." Inside her heart, she guarded it like life. Then, the day came. The compound was full of movement. Women rushed in and out. Water boiled. Cloths were brought. Voices filled the air. Inside the room, Chioma screamed as the pains came strong and fast. Outside, Chukwudi walked up and down like a restless lion. Sweat covered his face. His fists opened and closed.
Let it be a boy. Let it be a boy.
Inside the room, one final cry, one final push, then, ah! A sharp cry filled the air. The midwife lifted the baby and smiled. "It is a boy." Outside, Chukwudi froze.
A boy? Yes, a boy!
Joy exploded inside him. He jumped, he shouted, he danced round the compound like a man who found gold in his farm. Inside the room, Chioma held the baby close to her chest. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "My son," she whispered softly. "My Obim." Her hands touched the bead on her neck. It felt warm, almost alive. She smiled with relief. But suddenly, the bead made a tiny movement. So small, so quick, like something inside it shifted. Chioma's smile faded slowly. Her fingers tightened around it, because for the first time, the bead felt like it was breathing.
Years passed like flowing water. The compound that was once quiet became a place of laughter, greetings, and pride. The boy Chioma named Obim grew fast. He was strong, respectful, and calm. People in the village always said, "Chukwudi is lucky. His son will truly take over everything one day." Each time Chukwudi heard those words, his chest would rise high with pride. He walked like a king. He spoke like a man whose future was already secured. Chioma always smiled quietly, but deep inside her heart, she never forgot. Not one day, not one night. The bead was still there, still hanging on her neck. She never removed it, not even once. Even when she bathed, even when she slept, even when the string once scratched her skin and left a red mark, she still did not remove it, because she remembered the warning. On no account should you ever remove this necklace. Sometimes at night, when everyone was asleep, she would touch it gently, and each time she touched it, it felt warm, alive, watching, waiting. 20 years later, the sun shone brightly that afternoon. Goats rested under shade. Women pounded yam in the distance. The village was peaceful. Inside the compound, Chioma sat on a low stool peeling cassava. Obim sat beside her on a wooden bench. He was now a full-grown young man. Tall, calm, quiet. His voice had depth. His shoulders were wide. Everything about him showed strength and maturity. They were talking softly. "Mama," he said, smiling, "when I build my own house, your room will be the biggest." Chioma laughed softly. "Me? What will I be doing in a big room?" "You will rest. You have worked all your life." Her eyes softened with love. She looked at him proudly. "My son." Suddenly, Obim stopped talking. His smile faded. His face tightened. "Mama?" Chioma looked up quickly. "Yes, my body feels strange." Before she could speak, his fingers began to shake. His shoulders jerked. "Mama," his voice cracked. Chioma stomach fast. "What is it? What is happening?" Obim slid down from the bench and fell to his knees. His breathing became fast. His body twisted slightly, as if an invisible wind pushed through him. "Mama, something is happening to me." Fear gripped Chioma's chest. "Obim!" Then it happened. Right before her eyes. His body began to change. His frame softened. His chest shifted slowly, like clay being pressed by unseen hands. Chioma's bowl of cassava fell from her hands. Chi. She could not even complete his name. Within moments, the young man sitting there was gone. In his place sat a young woman. Silence swallowed the compound.
Even the wind stopped. The young woman looked at her own hands in terror. Her voice came out soft, unfamiliar. "Mama, who am I?" Chioma staggered back. Her legs shook violently. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The young woman touched her own face again and again in panic. "What is happening to me? Mama, what is happening?" Her voice trembled. Tears rushed down her cheeks. Chioma's heart pounded loudly inside her ears. Her eyes slowly dropped to the bead. The bead on her neck. It was hot. Hot like fire. Her breath caught. Her mind flashed back 20 years. The forest, the old woman, the warning. Her hands began to shake. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." The young woman cried louder. "Mama, please, tell me who I am. What is happening to me?" Chioma's fingers rushed to the necklace. Her hands trembled so much she almost could not hold it. This must be it." The bead vibrated slightly. Chioma grabbed it tight and pulled. The moment her fingers pressed it, gasp! A sharp sound came from the person in front of her, like air rushing back into a body. In the blink of an eye, the young woman's form shifted again. Shoulders widened, voice deepened, face reshaped. And just like that, Obim was back. He fell forward, breathing hard. Sweat covered his body. Chioma rushed and held him tightly. "My son." Obim clung to her like someone who almost drowned. "Mama, what just happened to me?" Her lips trembled. Her eyes slowly lifted again to the bead. It was now calm, still, silent, like nothing had happened. But Chioma knew. Something had started. Something that was not finished. Something that had waited 20 years. She swallowed slowly. Her voice came out like a whisper carried by fear. "It has begun." Obim looked at her confused. "Mama, what has begun?" Chioma did not answer, because deep inside her heart, she felt it clearly. The bead was no longer helping. It was demanding. And somewhere, far beyond the village, an old voice seemed to whisper through the wind, "Remember my warning." Chioma's grip tightened around her son, her eyes filled with fear, because she knew the real problem had not yet come.
The sun sank behind the palm trees. The sky turned orange, then purple, then dark. But inside Chioma's heart, there was no evening, only fear. She sat on her mat. Obim sat beside her quietly. Neither of them spoke for a long time. The air between them felt heavy. Finally, Obim broke the silence. "Mama, tell me the truth. What happened to me today?" Chioma closed her eyes. Her fingers slowly touched the bead on her neck. Her lips trembled. "There is something I have hidden from you for 20 years. Obim listened. She told him everything. How his father had spoken harshly years ago. How she became afraid. How she went to the midwife. How she heard she was carrying a girl. How she cried on the lonely road. How the old woman appeared. How she gave her the bead. How she warned her never to remove it. How she wore it. How he was born. How she never removed it for one day." Her voice shook as she spoke. When she finished, silence filled the room again. Obim's face was pale. "So, my life is tied to that bead?" Chioma nodded slowly. Tears gathered in her eyes. "Yes." Obim swallowed hard. "But today, when you touched it, I changed back." Chioma's breathing became heavy. "Yes." Fear slowly entered Obim's chest. "So, if you remove it—" She did not answer. She did not need to. Both of them already knew. Days passed. Nothing happened. Weeks passed. Nothing happened. Life slowly returned to normal, but Chioma was no longer the same. The bead had begun to feel heavier each day. At first it was light. Now it weighed on her neck like stone. Sometimes it burned her skin. Sometimes it felt tight, as if it was choking her slowly. At night, she could not sleep well. She would wake suddenly, breathing hard. Her hands would rush to the bead to make sure it was still there. Her body was growing weak. Her steps became slow. Her voice became faint. Obeem noticed. "Mama, are you sick?" "I am fine," she would always say. But she was not fine. The bead was draining her strength little by little. It was like something inside it was feeding. One hot afternoon, the sun was high and merciless. The compound was quiet, even birds hid from the heat. Chioma sat alone. Sweat covered her face. Her breathing was heavy. Her neck hurt. Her chest hurt. Her whole body felt tired. She touched the bead again. It was hot. Too hot. She winced. "I am tired," she whispered. Her hands shook. "I am tired." Her fingers slowly held the string. For 20 years she obeyed the warning. For 20 years she endured. But today her strength was gone. "I cannot do this again." Her voice was weak. Slowly, slowly, she pulled the bead off her neck. The moment it left her skin, a strange wind rushed through the compound. Dust rose from the ground. The door creaked loudly. The sky darkened slightly, though it was still afternoon. Inside the house, Obeem froze. His chest tightened suddenly. His body jerked. He grabbed the table. "Mama!" His voice cracked. Outside, Chioma heard him. Fear shot through her like lightning. She looked at the bead in her hand. Her eyes widened in horror. Inside, Obeem fell to his knees. His body began to change again, faster than before, stronger than before. His shoulders shrank, his frame softened, his voice faded. "Mama, help me!" Chioma screamed and tried to stand, but her legs failed her. The bead dropped from her hand. It hit the ground. Ka. Inside, the transformation finished. Where Obeem had stood, now stood a woman, breathing fast, shaking, tears pouring down her face. "Mama!" Chioma crawled forward desperately, her hands stretched toward the bead on the ground, but her strength was gone. Her fingers stopped halfway. Her body shook once, twice. Then it became still. The wind stopped. Silence fell. The bead lay on the floor, shining quietly. The young woman cried and held Chiola's body. "Mama, wake up! Please wake up!" But Chioma did not move. She had paid the price. Evening came. Villagers gathered. Whispers spread. Shock filled the compound. Some said it was mystery. Some said it was destiny. Some said it was the work of forces beyond man. But one thing was clear. The warning had come true. Far away in the silent forest, an old woman's voice echoed softly in the wind. "I warned you." From that day forward, the bead was never seen again, and the story of Chioma spread from village to village, not as a story of shame, but as a story of a choice made from fear, a choice that brought a miracle and a price. Moral lesson: fear can push a person to make choices that look good at first, but bring pain later. Truth is always safer than hiding, and no blessing that comes with a warning should ever be taken lightly. The end.